Welcome back to Hammock Radio. I'm Jason, Kilo 8 Tango Sierra Golf. Today I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of a couple of modifications I made to the Hennessy Hammock I reviewed a little while ago. These aren't extensive modifications by any means. They're just quality of life improvements. Just a couple of them I thought would make this hammock a little nicer to work with. It's been quite a while since this one came out, so a lot's changed in the hammock world since then. So without further ado, let's walk through it on this really hot day in Ohio summer. So the first modification I made was to remove the straps that came attached to the hammock. In my review I mentioned that they're kind of fiddly and weren't my most favorite option. There's a lot of better things you can do nowadays. They're nice that they come integrated for, you know, your first hammock, but they become a real pain real quickly. So I went ahead and pulled this whole end apart. There's just some zip ties that hold it on. Once you cut those and pull this back, it just feeds through the hammock bundle up here. And you just pull that back out, and I went ahead and stuck this ham steel continuous loop in here that I had from another hammock. You just fish it through, make sure you get your ridge line reattached to it, and then loop it back out, put everything back together. So now I can attach it to a carabiner to a tree strap, or use some Evo loops, or just loop directly through the ham steel if I want. But it gives you a lot of extra options compared to just this string or the rope that they gave you to begin with. You can also easily adjust and move stuff around if you have to. You couldn't do that with the rope that they gave you without having to redo the whole knot. But this ham steel is super strong. It's used on most hammocks nowadays. Just a continuous loop on here, and they also use it for a ridge line in most hammocks nowadays. I think this is just paracord in here, but I might change that out later. But for now, it works. And just goes to a carabiner. And I'm using these cheap straps off of Amazon. They're from Hiking Guru, and they're just fully adjustable. So you can just loosen it, move it up and down. Pretty simple. Just clip it on, clip it off. Makes up a lot faster and a lot easier. Now the next change I made was, since I removed the straps from the hammock, I still needed something to support the tarp. So I went ahead and just used some regular paracord I got. And on one end I have a bowline knot way down there that I just passed the loop, paracord through the loop, and bring it back here. And then down here I just do a trucker's hitch, run around the tree, make a loop, pass it through, and then do the slip knot right here. Now since I'm using this paracord, I needed a way to attach the tarp to it, so I went ahead and reused the hooks that came with the original rope and just put them on the paracord. It's just a simple prusik knot on the end. Just go ahead and recreate it on here, and now I can hook it right to the loop on the tarp. And then you just slide them to make the tarp nice and taut, and you're good to go. Everything else is the same. The pullouts are the same. I didn't change anything there. So this gives you a nice place to set up some nice shelter, get you out of the rain so you can set up your hammock and keep all your gear nice and dry. Now the one reason I went with a continuous ridge line for the tarp is because you hook the tarp directly to the cord that you're also using to hang the hammock. So unless you really know what you're doing and you get just the perfect hang, when you sit in the hammock, you're also going to pull down the tarp, and so your tarp's going to sag on you. You kind of need it taut in order for it to actually work as its job being a tarp. So this way it's completely separate from the hammock, and you don't need to worry about your weight or any weight underneath it pulling it down, pulling it out of sorts. So this gives you a nice shelter from the rain, so you can set up your hammock and keep your gear under. Now Derek Hansen also has a review of this hammock. He goes in a little more detail of how you can make it work with the built-in rope. You have to get the perfect 30-degree hang, and when you do that, then the tarp doesn't move as much or little at all. And that's probably what they were going for when they designed this, but again, that's fiddly, especially if you're using their built-in ropes. They're not the easiest to adjust if you need to make adjustments. So this way your hammock is separate from your tarp, so you can adjust your hammock as you need to, So that's just a couple quick mods I made. Hope that helps out someone. Thanks.